headlines of this hour on VTV News. Party General Secretary and State President meets with the leader of Cuban Revolution. And Prime Minister chairs a conference on Typhoon Yagi response. In our world news, Hurricane Helene kills dozens as it pummels the U.S.
Broadcasting from Hanoi, the capital of Vietnam. VTV News starts right now.
Good afternoon. It is 3 p.m. local time, and you're tuning in to VTV News. I'm Huyền Trân with the top stories. Party General Secretary and State President Tô Lâm met with Cuban Revolutionary General Raul Castro. The meeting was also attended by Miguel Diaz-Canel Bermudez, First Secretary of the Communist Party of Cuba Central Committee and President of Cuba. Party General Secretary and State President Tô Lâm highlighted Fidel Castro's unwavering support for Vietnam as a precious legacy in Vietnam-Cuba relations. He also thanked Raul Castro for his contributions to the bilateral relationship. The top Vietnamese leader also expressed gratitude for the condolences from the Cuban party, state, and people on the passing of late Party General Secretary Nguyễn Phú Trọng. Raul Castro warmly welcomed Party General Secretary and State President Tô Lâm visit, praising Vietnam's reform experiences and expressed Cuba's interest in sharing experiences. During the meeting, Party General Secretary and State President Tô Lâm invited Raul Castro to visit Vietnam again, an invitation the latter gladly accepted. Prime Minister Phạm Minh Chính chaired a hybrid conference on Saturday with representatives of 26 northern provinces and centrally run cities to draw lessons from the response to recent Typhoon Yagi and subsequent rains and floods. Opening the conference, the Prime Minister emphasized that Typhoon Yagi caused severe loss of life and property, significantly impacting people's lives. He commended cabinet members, ministers, and local authorities, particularly the military and public security forces, as well as relevant ministries and the electricity and telecommunication sectors for their effective on-the-ground response. The leader also expressed gratitude to the people for their continuous support, solidarity, and trust in the party and state during the response to the typhoon. He urged participants to contribute their opinions, identify shortcomings, and draw experiences from the forecasting, prevention and control, response, and settlement of the typhoon's consequences. He also asked delegates to propose tasks and solutions to quickly stabilize the situation, support the people, restore production and business, promote economic growth, and effectively control inflation. Now, on September 28th, under the chairmanship of National Assembly Chairman Trần Thanh Mẫn, the Standing Committee of the National Assembly continued its 37th session to review and decide on the reorganization of district and commune-level administrative units for the 2023 to 2025 period in several provinces and cities. The 13 provinces and cities involved in this reorganization are Bắc Giang, Cần Thơ, Đắk Lắk, Đồng Nai, Gia Lai, Khánh Hòa, Lào Cai, Ninh Thuận, Phú Yên, Quảng Ninh, Thái Bình, Tiền Giang, and Vĩnh Long. After the reorganization, these localities have reduced 87 out of the total of over 2,040 commune-level administrative units. Now, since October, Ho Chi Minh City has piloted a public administration service center that receives and processes administrative procedures under a one-stop mechanism, regardless of a geographical location. Ho Chi Minh City, Hanoi, Bình Dương, and Quảng Ninh are the 4 localities testing this model, aiming to reduce the number of one-stop departments and enhance service quality.
Legally, the Public Administration Service Center operates as an administrative agency under the Ho Chi Minh City People's Committee, with a status equivalent to a department.
In establishing the center, we focused on arranging human resources and facilities to meet public needs. As a one-stop center, it requires top-notch infrastructure.
According to the Ho Chi Minh City People's Committee, piloting the Public Administration Service Center is a necessary step that builds on the successes of the modern one-stop shop model. A key feature is its structure as a one-level public administration service center, meaning Ho Chi Minh City will have only one central facility. This model aims to streamline administrative procedures without increasing the payroll.
We have made public 1,962 administrative procedures, with 611 available online, streamlining operations at the center.
The Ho Chi Minh City Public Administration Service Center is expected to launch in early October 2024.
The Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development held a conference on Saturday morning in Haiphong to mobilize resources for a post-storm and flood production recovery. The disasters caused extensive crop damage, with over 44,000 livestock and 5.6 million poultry lost. The aquaculture sector from Quảng Ninh to Nghệ An suffered losses exceeding $243 million. To date, more than $3.6 million has been raised to support aquaculture, ensuring sufficient stock for production. However, the livestock sector faces a serious threat if post-disaster diseases are not controlled. African swine fever has affected over 1,000 areas, and blue ear disease has re-emerged. In response, the Department of Animal Health has deployed 48 businesses to provide chemicals, disinfectants, and vaccines for 6 heavily impacted provinces. The Ministry of Agriculture has also urged agricultural supply businesses to stabilize prices to support production restoration. The People's Committee of Điện Biên Province have proposed 4 new emergency resettlement projects to the Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development. These projects, to be implemented by 2025, target disaster-prone areas. With a total estimated investment of over $3.5 million, the projects will be allocated in 4 villages: Vin Ho and Hue Hoi in Bo District, Hoi Xuân in Muang Cha District, and Bao Tỉnh Lang 2 in Tuo Chua District. This brings Điện Bien's total proposed emergency resettlement projects to 19, with a combined budget of $27.8 million. More than 2 weeks after Typhoon Yagi, the beach area of Quang Yên Town in Quảng Ninh Province remains cluttered with debris. The storm nearly destroyed the local aquaculture cages, leaving large remnants that now float across the sea. The full impact on aquaculture farmers has yet to be determined. Meanwhile, the community is focused on salvaging remaining stock, cleaning up the area, and repairing cages for future production.
At Kai Dam Wharf in Hong Tan Commune, Quang Yên Town, a crowd gathered around the pile of damaged cages washed ashore. People worked together to clean up, salvage the cages, and rescue any surviving aquatic animals, hoping to recover whatever they could.
This entire area resembles a pile of rubble, with aquaculture rafts and garbage mixed together, stacked haphazardly. The buoys and rafts are all damaged. We're pulling out whatever we can to restore the aquatic breeds for future farming. Each day, 30 workers come to help with the cleanup and recovery efforts.
It is estimated that over 800 oyster and barnacle farming cages were destroyed in the Quang Yên Town area due to Typhoon Yagi. This family alone had 80 aquaculture rafts, and the damage from the storm is estimated to be around $2 million.
We're completely at a loss. The aquaculture rafts are damaged, and we're working to dismantle them to see if there's anything we can salvage.
Farmers are hoping for support from the government in the form of debt deferment, new loans, or tax reductions.
A significant amount of investment has gone into the aquaculture rafts, and now we're doing our best to repair what we can. I'm determined to start over, but I'm uncertain about securing a loan. For now, we're focused on salvaging whatever we can to support my daily life.
Despite the extensive damage, the people here remain optimistic, hopeful for the chance to rebuild after the storm.
Không làm sao được, cái này phải
Just stay optimistic
thôi thì cứ
and
cười
mentally
thôi.
prepare to start
Tinh
over.
thần để nằm lại thôi.
Coming up next on VTV News. Mekong Delta residents unite to combat landslides. And Hanoi remains peaceful and intact on Liberation Day, a triumph of preservation. Now moving on to other news, a large crack stretching hundreds of meters has appeared on the slope of Ngọc Linh Mountain in Trà Linh Commune, Nam Trà My District, Quảng Nam Province. Nearly 20 households, several schools and local government offices are located at the foot of the mountain. Local authorities are urgently assessing the site and deploying teams to monitor unusual developments and provide timely warnings for evacuation in case of emergencies. Currently, there are 45 landslide sites in Nam Trà My District, affecting over 10,000 residents. In the Mekong Delta, much of the dike system protecting agricultural production is made of soil, making it highly prone to landslides. In some areas, dike failures occur repeatedly during the high tide season. This issue has persisted for years, driving up the cost of repairs and reinforcement, while productive land continues to disappear.
Although a recently damaged section of the dike has been reinforced, local households remain concerned. The entire 350-meter dike is in poor condition and could be submerged at any moment. To protect over 20 hectares of fruit orchards, residents have had to use their own money to install drainage pipes.
I place this bag so that when it breaks, the water will drain quickly, helping to prevent the trees from dying. Without it, all the trees would perish.
The August full moon flood breached the dike. To protect their 3 hectares of guava and longan trees, Thiem's family spent almost $150 USD to raise the dike. This happens nearly every year, with some years requiring reinforcement 2 to 3 times.
Each year in August and September, the dike must be reinforced. Those who don't take action face a significant risk of damage.
Currently, Soc Trang Province boasts thousands of kilometers of dikes constructed by the local population. Each year, the cost of addressing landslides reaches the tens of billions of Vietnam dong. The dikes in the Mekong Delta are built using heavy soil mixed with sand, which makes them particularly vulnerable to breaking when tides rise.
The primary challenge now is land loss. Over the years, the area of land available to locals has steadily diminished, particularly land suited for fruit orchards. This scarcity makes it difficult to construct sturdy dikes.
Every year, provinces and cities in the Mekong Delta allocate hundreds of billions of Vietnam dong to reinforce and raise embankments to safeguard agricultural production. Locals invest their own resources to protect their properties. This creates an ongoing financial burden as the region continues to face the threat of dike breaches during high tide season.
During the mid-August high tide, many localities in the Mekong Delta had to urgently address dike breaches and landslides. Provincial and municipal authorities face challenges due to limited resources for solid dike projects, while farmland continues to erode. The local agricultural sector emphasizes that effective responses require community support.
Over the past 5 years, the Gojian River bank in Chợ Lách district has eroded nearly 200 meters inland, submerging dozens of hectares of productive land. Initially, many families resisted donating land for sturdy dike, fearing it would harm their livelihoods. However, as landslides have worsened, their stance has begun to shift.
But people now agree to reinforce the dike. While they will lose some land and face crop damage, once completed, reinforcement will prevent further losses.
Previously, many people did not consider the long-term benefits, making local mobilization difficult. Now they have agreed with the authorities.
According to the agricultural sector in the Mekong Delta, current funding for embankment reinforcement and elevation is insufficient. In urgent areas, localities have encouraged residents to donate land for the project.
The district has a dense dike system. Residents recognize the need for investment in dike for economic development and are working with authorities to reinforce them.
In recent years, provinces and cities in the Mekong Delta have implemented numerous solid dike systems with public support. This approach aims to protect the majority of productive areas while requiring residents to donate only a small portion of their land.
Overall, people are very aware. In areas where they have resources, they reinforce the dikes themselves. In regions beyond their capacity, authorities will provide support.
Climate change is exacerbating landslides, while funding for solid dike construction remains insufficient. Community efforts are crucial to responding to natural disasters and safeguarding agricultural production.
Bình Định Province will provide financial support for the purchase and installation of monitoring devices on fishing vessels between 12 and 50 meters long, operating in southern fishing grounds. The province will cover 50% of the cost for each vessel, up to a maximum of $406 per device. Each vessel can receive this support only once per installed device. This policy will remain in effect until December 31st, 2024. The initiative aims to prevent and ultimately eliminate fishing violations in foreign waters. Recently, Thừa Thiên Huế province residents have voluntarily handed over several rare and endangered animals listed in Vietnam's Red Book. This growing awareness and sense of responsibility demonstrate the increasing public commitment to wildlife conservation and biodiversity protection.
Most recently, in late September, a resident handed over a reticulated python to local authorities. The python found in the resident's garden weighed approximately 12 kilograms and was around 3 meters long. It is classified as a 2B group species in the world's red list of endangered species.
When I woke up, I saw the python, so I caught it and handed it over to the authorities to release it back into the wild.
Earlier, authorities in Phu Loc district were informed by a local resident who had discovered a green sea turtle weighing about 70 kilograms trapped in fishing nets. Upon inspection, officials confirmed that the turtle belonged to a species listed in the World Wildlife Fund's Red List and Vietnam's Red Book.
Some of these species are critically endangered, with very few individuals left. Handing them over to authorities helps enrich the ecosystem.
Thanks to ongoing awareness campaigns urging the public to refrain from hunting, trading, transporting, or storing wildlife illegally, many residents have voluntarily handed over wild animals so that they can be released back into their natural habitats.
In recent months, numerous households have demonstrated responsibility by handing over animals, such as monkeys, lorises, and reticulated pythons, that they encounter to authorities.
Many wildlife species are at risk of extinction, making wildlife protection efforts increasingly urgent. In addition to the work of forest rangers, the active cooperation of local authorities, especially local residents, is crucial to achieving effective wildlife protection and biodiversity conservation.
The Hanoi Book Fair 2024 theme, Hanoi Capital of Culture, Heroism, and a City for Peace, officially opened Friday night in Hanoi. This event celebrates the 70th anniversary of the capital's liberation and the 25th anniversary of Hanoi's recognition as a city for peace by UNESCO. The fair showcases free book exhibitions and new works highlighting the cultural and historical traditions of Thăng Long, Hanoi. This year, organizers are calling on publishers, distributors, and readers to donate books to libraries in schools affected by the recent typhoon and floods. These donated books will be distributed to the schools after the fair, which runs until Sunday, September 29th. The 70th anniversary of the liberation of Hanoi, October 10, 1954 and October 10, 2024, offers citizens a chance to reflect on Hanoi's rich history and growth. The historic march into the capital was the result of meticulous preparation and a commitment to preserving Hanoi's integrity and peace. Efforts were focused on preventing enemy destruction while quickly stabilizing and rebuilding after the war. This undertaking involved a complex struggle across various fronts, including politics, economics, culture, and ideology.
Before the army took control of Hanoi, all key positions were designated for protection. At 97 years old, Đỗ Đăng Long still recalls events from 70 years ago when he was given a secret mission to lead workers in securing coal reserve for the Yên Phụ power plant, preventing its sabotage.
The French instructed the Electricity Distribution Management Office to transport machinery and equipment to Haiphong. I convinced workers there to safeguard it, which gave us complete confidence in managing the electricity situation.
Our policy is for the workers in the factories to take responsibility for their own facilities. If they don't, the factories risk collapsing, which would lead to job losses. We've placed trusted individuals within the workforce and unions to ensure the security of factories and agencies.
Hanoians remained resolute in their commitment to preserve the city, despite the enemy's attempts to undermine it and prevent them from seizing an intact capital. Among Senior Lieutenant General Song Hao's personal belongings is a historic photo of President Ho Chi Minh addressing Division 308 at Giếng Temple, preserved by his family. As political commissar, Song Hao, seated beside President Ho Chi Minh, recorded the leader's instructions for the troops during the capital takeover: uphold discipline, maintain order and security, protect the people, combat sabotage, and safeguard both local and foreign industries and commerce.
President Ho Chi Minh stated that after enduring many eras of struggle, our ancestors succeeded in preserving the capital, Hanoi. The commanders of Division 308 adhered closely to Uncle Ho's directives, particularly during the capital's takeover, where they had to set a strong example and unite with the people to maintain the integrity of the city and rebuild the nation.
The city flourished in peace, and Hanoi had never been more joyful and vibrant.
Coming up next in our world news. Hurricane Helene kills dozens as it pummels the U.S. And Israel launches airstrike on Hezbollah headquarters. Now moving on to our world news. Hurricane Helene carved a devastating path across Florida and the southeastern U.S. on Friday, killing at least 44 people. The storm has left more than 3.5 million homes and businesses without power. Flooding and landslides pose a threat to many people in the southeastern states of the U.S., and maximum sustained winds have decreased to nearly 55 kilometers per hour, with higher gusts on Friday night local time. However, heavy rains from the tropical depression are still causing severe flooding in many areas. Rescue forces have conducted thousands of rescues across the affected states. Now, according to the U.S. National Hurricane Center, flooding of more than 2.7 meters is possible along the west coast of Florida. And over the next 5 days, up to 250 millimeters of rain is expected in some areas of the southeastern U.S. The new head of Japan's Liberal Democratic Party, Ishiba Shigeru, has pledged to implement policies to escape economic stagnation. He stressed the importance of reviving consumption and combating deflation as key steps to recovery. The new government will consider measures to mitigate the impact of inflation on households, particularly regarding electricity, gas, and gasoline prices. He has pledged to accelerate Prime Minister Fumio Kishida's policies to boost household incomes by raising wages. The energy policy is expected to largely follow the Kishida administration's path of promoting the use of nuclear power. The leader mentioned the possibility of dissolving the lower house of parliament soon, but wants the public to decide after debates with opposition parties. Now, on Friday evening, the Israeli military continued to carry out airstrikes targeting the headquarters of Hezbollah on the outskirts of the Lebanese capital, Beirut. The Israeli airstrikes completely destroyed several buildings believed to be where Hezbollah leaders often reside. According to Israeli media, Hezbollah's Secretary General Hassan Nasrallah may have been killed in the airstrikes. The Lebanese Health Ministry stated that at least 6 people were killed and more than 90 injured in Israeli attacks on the outskirts of Beirut the day before. The attacks came after Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu told the United Nations that Israel's campaign against Hezbollah would continue. The UN Secretary General expressed concern over the latest developments. Now, as usual, let's move on to the weather forecast. And that's all the news we have for this hour. To rewatch our program, you can download our mobile app VTV Go or check out our YouTube channel, VTV for Go. Thank you for watching and see you next time.